Hello everyone. So excited to be here with you guys finally. Feels like this has been coming for a while, right? We've all been kind of waiting to get started and I'm excited to be here finally. I'm gonna wait just a second and see if anyone hops on while I'm pulling up our slides. So this is day one of the Dreamer's Journey, 78 Days of Tarot. I'll just take care of a little housekeeping items first. There is going to be a deck of slides that will be in the file section of the group, and it will be updated every day with the new day's card. And so the deck that's in there right now just has the Fool card and all of the information that we'll be covering today on that. You will also have homework posts once or twice a week. Those will always be located in the pinned post section of the group. So if you look at the pinned post, today has today's homework, and if I give you a second homework assignment, I will just add on to that current pinned post. And then those posts will be transferred into the file section once the week is completed. So you'll always be able to go back and see what the homework was from the previous weeks. So far I've given you a couple of homework assignments. There was one in the very beginning when I had you just kind of do some journaling on your intuition. And then last week I had you tell me which queen you identified with. And some of you have shared. I would love for everyone else to share which queen you are identifying with in the deck. And then today I posted the homework for this week, which will probably be the only homework assignment this week because it is a little bit lengthy. It's to do a timeline of your life. Of influential decisions that you've made or turning points that have happened throughout the course of your life. So you make a timeline of your entire life up until this point. And then you will lay out your major arcana, which are cards 1 through 21 of the deck. And I really want you to spend some time exploring, really connecting with each of those cards, taking a look at them, journaling out what your emotions are around them. Is it positive? Is it negative? Are you repulsed by it? Are you drawn to it? You may be neutral to some of the cards. And then I would like you to match up the major arcana with the timeline of your life. So that's your homework assignment for the week. I went into a little bit more detail in the pinned post. So if you have any questions about that, just put a new make a new thread in the group, because if you have the questions, probably other people do as well. So just post it there, tag me in the post. Any posts or any questions that you have that you want me to respond to, make sure you tag me so I don't miss them. And yeah, so we're gonna do this a little bit differently than most people who teach tarot, because I really love numerology and I'm kind of all about the numerology. And each card has a numerological association and significance. So the way that we're going to do this class, hey Melissa, is that we are going to, today we will just be covering the Fool and the Dreamer because that card is 0 and that's the only card in the deck that has a 0 numerological association with it. So we'll be talking about, nose itching. We'll be talking about the Fool today. I'm going to just go into a brief explanation of, hey now, of minor arcana and major arcana. And then starting tomorrow, we're going to jump into all of the cards that have a number 1, hey Farah, numerological significance. So we will start with the Magician tomorrow, and then we will move into the following cards that all either break down to a number 1 or have a number 1 numerological significance. And then once we get through the 1s, we'll move on to the 2s, on to the 3s, so on and so forth. That way we only are having to cover the numerology one time. So tomorrow we will be talking about the Magician card, and we will also talk about the numerological significance of the number 1. And so we'll probably do a little brief refresher on the other days where we're talking about cards with the 1 numerological significance, but we won't go into depth into that number 1 significance again. So, and all of this information, again, will be in the slideshow deck that will be in the file section of the group. So you can always go back and reference that at any time. As we're talking about cards with the number 1, you can have your deck there. You can print it out. I've put it in your... Awesome. I love it, Vera. So, because I love this stuff. It's like so exciting to me. I'm so excited to be sharing it with you guys. So you can print, it's in PDF version, so you'll be able to go in and print it out and then have a hard copy of it if you'd like, or you can save it on your device or on your computer so that you have a electronic version of it as well. So, yeah, so we're going to be talking about the Fool today, or the Dreamer card. I really prefer Dreamer. Most of the decks, you'll have the card named the Fool, though in some he is called the Dreamer. The reason why this one kind of stands alone and why we're talking about it first is that this card represents you in your journey. It represents you in your journey, or the person that you are reading for in their journey. And so the major arcana is really the journey of you or of the person that you're reading through all of the cards of the major arcana. And if you think of it as a wheel or a circle, it comes all the way back around to the Fool or the Dreamer card again. So the Dreamer and Fool card actually has 2 numerological significance and numerological associations with it, 0 and 22. So we're going to talk a little bit about numerology in a little bit. But if you think of the major arcana just as that, the wheel of life, a circle, a journey where you start at the Fool and you end at the Fool. So as you go through the 21 cards, you end up back where you started. And we'll talk about why that is in a minute. But so the major arcana really is just the journey of your life. It's where you are at any given phase in your life. So at any time, no matter what's going on with you, you are represented by one of the cards in that deck. We're going to do a little more exploration next week into identifying how you feel about the certain cards. So it's going to be kind of an addition to what you're doing this week. But we're going to really talk about like which cards have a negative connotation to you, which cards have a positive, and then kind of try to give you a spin on both so that you can really look at each card neither as negative or positive, but just simply as a message to give you the reading or give you the information that you're wanting to find out where you are in your journey. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. I'm actually not going to talk about minor arcana today because I don't want to confuse you. And we're starting with major arcana. So tomorrow we will be discussing major arcana again. And then the following day, so I think towards the end of the week, we'll be getting into the minor arcana. And so I'll give a little more information at that time, but I'll probably just touch on some different information about major arcana while we're going through the first 3 cards of this week. So today, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I think that's it. I think then we move into, nope, we have 4 major arcana after this one. And then we move into, so at the weekend, we'll be moving into the minor arcana. And you'll see, as we go through this week, you'll kind of see how the flow goes, and then you'll understand how it's going to move forward in weeks going forward. I think you'll really like this format. To me, it makes a lot of sense for me, and it makes it easier for me to resonate and learn the cards when we're really talking about how to associate the numbers with the cards, because the numbers have their own meanings. And then you can also look at cards as interpretations of timing. So dates, months, years, when those things are going to be coming to fruition. So it's really important to understand the numerological significance of the cards. So that's why I've chosen to break it down this way. I hope you like it. If you have any questions, make sure to let me know. Okay, so let's jump in and talk about the Fool card, the Fool or the Dreamer. So I already mentioned that this is you on your journey, basically. And so the Fool is, and for the sake of this, of talking about the card today, I'm going to just say the Fool because that's what it actually says on your card so that it's not confusing. But just know that the Fool kind of has a negative connotation to me. And so I really like that this card is the Dreamer. Like he's beginning his journey. He's dreaming about all the places that he can go. And this card to me is a very, very positive card. Even when it's reversed, it's very positive to me. So yeah, so The Fool is the beginning and the end of everything simultaneously. So he lives between worlds. He's partially in the spirit world, and then he's partially in the material plane, or in our physical plane that we exist in right now. So the element associated with this card is air. The astrology associated with this card is Uranus, and we'll talk about that later. And then, as I mentioned, numerology is 0 and 22, and we will cover that in just a minute as well. So you find the Fool at the start and the end of every journey. So as you're looking at the messages and you're looking at the card, how it's playing out in your readings, most oftentimes it represents the beginning of a journey, but just know that it can also represent the end of the journey. But like everything else, as you end one thing, a new thing begins. And so kind of continues this wheel of the major arcana. This card really represents like being on the verge of something, something new happening, a new phase of your life beginning. It is the card of unlimited potential. So nowhere to go, but just this vast open space where you can really explore like anything is possible, right? The Fool is he or she who is completely fearless. So lacking fear in any way, completely courageous, completely full of courage. And it's the card of being filled with anticipation and wonder. So it's that idea of like seeing everything through childlike eyes. It is the ultimate freedom card. So that Fool being on its journey, and we're going to talk about the symbolism of the card in a minute, but it really is freedom to come and go as you please, and no attachments. So the Fool is new in his journey, and so he doesn't generally have a spouse or a significant other or children, no baggage really to tie him down. It literally is the card of ultimate freedom. It also represents being spontaneous with no clear plan and looking at a situation with fresh, unjaded eyes. So I'm going to do this section in every card called Leah language, because most of my clients that come to me laugh at I have my Leah language, how I interpret the cards in the deck, and it's just my quick kind of flippant answer to each card. So I'm going to incorporate that for you guys. And so this card is always the one where I say, take the leap, or why aren't you taking the leap, or why are you afraid of taking the leap, or take the fucking leap. If I read for you, I will sometimes say that. So we are going to talk about reversals in this course, and a lot of people say that when you're beginning to learn to read that you shouldn't read reversals. I don't believe that, because tarot was intended to be read with reversals. Each card has a reversal and has a meaning, so we're going to talk about them. We're going to learn about them. This may be where things start to get a little bit confusing as you move into doing your own spreads and your own readings. So I am here to help you with interpretations. As you're going through this course and you're doing readings for yourself, I really encourage you, take a snapshot of the reading if you're confused on something. So take a picture of the actual cards, post it in a new thread in the group, tag me, and ask for an interpretation. And then we can walk through that. And then I encourage you guys, as you're reading those posts from your friends and the people that are in this group with you, give your input too on what resonates with you and on what you think. That's really how we learn, is getting input from other people and the real actual practice of the reading of the cards. So the great thing about this course is it's so much more than me just sitting here talking to you on a camera. You're gonna have real practical ability to just dive in. After about a week, you'll probably feel comfortable diving in when you've got some information under your belt. You'll feel comfortable kind of diving in and pulling some cards and doing some readings for yourself. And like I said, if you have questions, just post a picture, tag me, and I will get to you as soon as I possibly can. So, but we want to talk about reversals with the Fool card. So the Fool in reverse is someone who is foolish, right? Someone who is apprehensive, someone who is careless or negligent or naive. This card can be a warning, proceed with caution. And it also can represent somebody who's taking dangerous risks, because upright, it's, the Fool is definitely a risk taker, but in a good way. So reversed, it can mean undue risk, unnecessary risk. So now I want to talk a little bit about the symbolism of the card. And I think I have it here, brought it down somewhere. I swear I brought it down. I know I did. Hold on one second. sure. Nell, I'm not sure what you're asking me, so I know that we have a call after this. Maybe you can ask me on the call. I'm not sure what you're about time of this course. Yeah, I'm not sure. So, and I don't know what happened to the card. This is crazy town. I just had it. Let me see if I dropped it. Oh, I'm sitting on it. I knew it was here. Okay, so Fool card. So I want to talk a little bit about the symbolism of this card. So here he is standing on the edge of the cliff, right? Ready to take the leap, ready to jump into the wild unknown. He's playing the flute, which really represents having not a care in the world, right? Doing what feels good. He's filled with a passion and a zest for life. Then he has the dog at his feet, and I love this. So the dog is white. The dog represents being accompanied by your instincts and your intuition, which are your one true loyal friend, right? Your intuition, your higher self, that's your one true friend. So the dog represents that, and it's white to represent purity and connection to higher self. So, and then there's butterflies there. Hopefully you can see those. There you go. There's butterflies there representing transformation. So that is the card, and you do have a picture of it in your deck in the PowerPoint presentation. I saved it as a PDF though, so you don't have to have PowerPoint to open it. So the astrology. So Uranus, Uranus or Uranus, however you however you pronounce it, is the planet of creativity and of independence. So this card has a very, very strong independence feeling to it. He's out on his own. It's just him. He's alone in the world. And so Uranus being the planet of independence and also innovation. So asking us to really be ourselves and release old habits or situations that are no longer serving us. So that's the astrological representation of the card. And then we're going to move into the numerology. So 0, we've talked about that. 0 is the beginning and the end of everything. It's the circle, right? So the dreamer of the Fool card, like I mentioned, he exists between worlds. He's kind of in that in-between space prior to being born and after dying. And so he's ready to either take the leap or end his journey to begin a new one again, right? So the number represents the gateway to immortality. It's God's source energy. It's pure spirit, and it's everywhere and nowhere at once. So it's freedom from limitations, which we talked about. He's free from limitations, right? He's not carrying a lot of baggage. He's got this knapsack over his shoulder with like everything he owns in the world in this little tiny knapsack, which is amazing, right? Like, so he's just free to go and do whatever it is that he chooses to do. So this is the card of potential and choice, and because of the numerology. So we're talking about numerological significance right now. The number 0 represents eternity. It's a blank slate, so anything is possible from here. It is the alpha and the omega at once. And so it really is that degree of spiritual mysticism that everyone is capable of achieving, yet very few do. So that's kind of the numerological representation of 0, like all infinite possibility, right? So as he comes to the end of the journey, there are 21 cards in the major arcana. So he represents the 0 and the 22 at the same time. And 22 is the master builder number, as many of you know. So he becomes master number 22. And basically what that means is he has the ability to turn all his lofty goals into reality. And he is absolute power and accomplishment at once as he ends his journey. So that's the numerological significance. So some alternative interpretations, which I'll also list for you in just some different categories. And if you guys are interested in hearing any other categories, let me know. But the ones that I'm going to be focusing on, in addition to just the general meanings and the reversals, are love, work, and spiritual meanings of the cards. So in love, this card means be spontaneous, be more romantic, trust your heart, let down your walls. In work, it represents believing in yourself. And then also, oftentimes, it's time to take the leap into a new career or a new job. And then the spiritual beliefs are look for new ways of doing things, release old dogmas, explore newer ideologies. So that's kind of the explanation of the Fool card. He's where we begin our journey, and we'll move next into the Magician tomorrow. So let me know if you have any questions, post in the comments. if anything was confusing, if anything was unclear. And yeah, so otherwise I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to be recording several days this week, so I may be going live again tomorrow, and I'll try to go live a couple of times during the week just in case you guys have questions as they pop up. But majority of the videos are going to be pre-recorded and then just dropped into the group probably around noon every day. So just be checking back. I will go live tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure what time, so I'll post that in the group and let you know. But always just catch the replay, tag me in a question. Tag me in a comment too, because sometimes I miss those. If a lot of people end up commenting, then sometimes I can miss them. So if there's anything that you want me to personally address, just tag me in it and I'll be sure to see it. So I hope you guys have a good evening. It was so fun being with you. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. I'm so excited to teach you something that I'm so passionate about. It's given me so much clarity and direction in my life, and I love reading for other people. I want you guys to leave this course feeling really confident in reading for yourselves and reading for others. And then that way you can only use me when you want some real clarity. I still go to my own readers. I read for myself, but when I have big things happening in my life, I have readers that I go see. So I think it's always fun to have other people to go to, but when you can answer the quick questions for yourself, it's so empowering. And you know, for me, this course is all about each one of you really moving further in your journey of developing your own individual spiritual gifts. So the spiritual gifts, to me, I believe that every single one of you have every single gift. This is just a really good way to flex that muscle, to make that muscle stronger so that you can start to develop all of your individual gifts. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys have an amazing night. Mwah!